Well, this is just a test because I've been having lots of problems. The audio was out of sync, but that's sort of annoying. But when it's too low to hear, that's really annoying. And I know my computer will play it pretty loud, so it's probably totally silent to a lot of people. Well, it's not that important. I didn't have a very focused response. I was talking about the history of 0 and 1, 1 being older, and that's interesting and says something, I think, about what's the first most noticeable thing to a human mind in terms of these patterns. I was talking about my position in mathematics and when I had to back off earlier in the year, and my basic point then was that accepting that we lived in an ideal mathematical world where we could get the exact measure of something, as say the side of a square is 1. I was saying there'd be no way to represent an exact measure of square root of 2, but Kazino-McCool showed that was not true, and it was obvious in the end to me that, of course, if you grant that you're in this idealized mathematical world, you can get these numbers geometrically. That's how we did get them. So you could just draw a square, and then the diagonal of the square is square root of 2, and that's an exact square root of 2, just like. Now, in the real world, you can never represent that. You need an infinite number of digits, and we use these digital notations. But then again, you can never actually get the exactly one measure either. It's going to be off by some amount. So, also, I hadn't mentioned, but I'm also being challenged in my video, an old video, incompleteness theorem's not so bad. Now, I'm sort of being nitpicked, which is fine if there really are nits. That's a metaphor of if you have lice, picking the nits is lice eggs. So he's sort of finding details in my stuff to complain about, but I don't think they're nits yet. I don't think my argument has lice. I think that the incompleteness theorems are not so bad. His point is that the completeness and incompleteness theorems of Gödel are about first-order logic, and there's some truth to that. But one, it still does apply to second-order logic, and basically all I'm saying is that we need these second-order logic statements to talk about the real world. And I'm still going to research this more. It's been a while since I was taught and studied any of this, but I mean, basically, the point I'm using there is that, okay, so you don't have a proof theorem, basically, for second-order logic, which is a more natural logic that we use every day to actually live, is what I mean by natural. You can't have a very good proof theory in there. You can in first-order logic. The problem with arithmetic and things like this is to actually establish arithmetic, you need first-order logic. And you need these things such as defining the real numbers, which have to be done in second-order logic. And, there was a transition there. Maybe I've mischaracterized exactly or simplified too much, and I want to look into that. I appreciate somebody going through the details of these kinds of arguments. I'd like to get all those details right. But basically, I'm just thinking about the fact that, for example, Frege was using second-order logic without even thinking about it. It's like, why not variabilize over the concepts, over the predicates, the sets? Or why not, allow quantification over? But, I prefer to think of it as turning something into a variable, but whatever. That's another nitpick they're getting. But anyway, why not? And he just did that. And then it was by, Russell's paradox and proving these problems with second-order logic that it turned out, oh, you can't do that. You can still do first-order logic with the same goals. Or you can accept that second-order logic is useful even though there's statements that are true that can't be proved true, or false that can't be proved false, and so on. So anyway, this is mostly just a test to see if the damn audio working.